Mornings have a rhythm. You can hear it, feel it. And at Quaker, we fuel it. With 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber in every bowl, helping you turn that rhythm into your soundtrack for a great day. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Let's go! Let's go!
Hidden among the limestone scars of Beetham Fell in Cumbria is a narrow passage known as the Fairy Steps. Tucked between the towering walls of weathered rock, the route climbs through a natural cleft before emerging onto the open fell above. Today it is a popular destination for walkers exploring the countryside between Beetham and Arnside. But for centuries, it was known for very different reasons. Most visitors arrive having heard the legend. According to local tradition, anyone who can climb or descend the narrow staircase without touching the limestone walls on either side will have a wish granted by the fairies. It sounds simple enough until you stand before the gap yourself. In places, the passage narrows to little more than 30 centimetres. The stone is uneven beneath your feet, and the rock presses close on either side. What appears straightforward quickly becomes rather more challenging. The story became especially popular during the Victorian period, when growing numbers of visitors began exploring the landscapes of Cumbria. Local legends added colour to the countryside, and the challenge of passing through the narrow cleft without touching the sides became a favourite test for adventurous travellers. Other stories followed. One tale claims the fairies used the passage while escaping from a witch. Another suggests that those blessed with second sight may occasionally glimpse fairy figures among the surrounding woodland. Whether such stories were ever widely believed is impossible to know, but they helped transform an old pathway into one of the area's most enduring curiosities. Yet the fairy legend only tells part of the story. Long before tourists arrived, this route served a practical purpose. Until 1866, Arnside formed part of the parish of Beetham. The nearest church with a burial ground was St Michael's and All Angels Church in Beetham, meaning local people crossed the fell for baptisms, weddings, church services and funerals. The same path carried every stage of life. Among those making the journey were funeral parties carrying their dead. Standing within the narrow cleft, it is difficult to imagine a coffin ever passing this way. Stories recorded in the area suggest that iron rings, some of which can still be seen in the limestone today, were used with ropes to help lower and haul coffins through the narrowest section. Exactly how every funeral party negotiated the route has been lost to time, but the steps formed part of an important connection between the two communities for generations. The route also belongs to a wider network of paths once found throughout Cumbria and other parts of Britain. Known as coffin roads or corpse roads, they linked isolated settlements with parish churches that possessed burial grounds. Some crossed mountains, others passed through woodland or over lonely stretches of moorland. Many eventually attracted stories of ghostly processions, strange lights and supernatural encounters. Perhaps that is hardly surprising. Few places carry more emotional weight than routes walked repeatedly by generations of mourners. At Beetham, however, the folklore took a darker turn. Folklore from the area speaks of a creature known as the Cappel. Described as a great black dog with blazing eyes, the Cappel belongs to a family of legends found throughout Britain. Similar creatures appear in folklore under names such as Black Shuck in East Anglia and the Barguest in Yorkshire. Across Britain, stories of supernatural black dogs have been told for centuries, often appearing on lonely roads, near churchyards, and in places associated with death. The Cappel is said to haunt the lanes and tracks around Beetham, appearing suddenly before travellers and vanishing just as quickly. To encounter the creature was considered a sign of approaching misfortune. To look directly into its eyes was regarded as something far worse. According to the legend, meeting its gaze was an omen of death. One account claims that the story became so feared that the vicar of Beetham eventually intervened. Through prayer and exorcism, he supposedly drove the creature away and forced it into the waters of the nearby River Bella. If the tale ended there, the Cappel would be little more than a curious fragment of local folklore. But as it happens with such stories, reports continued. One story tells of a local man returning home, insisting he had seen the creature after its supposed banishment. His wife reportedly doubted the account, attributing the sighting to the amount he had consumed that evening. But the tale survived all the same. Other versions place the Cappel close to the old passage itself, watching from the edge of the woodland as daylight fades from the fell. The warning remains unchanged. Should you encounter the creature, do not look into its eyes. Today, most people visit simply to explore the landscape and test themselves against the old challenge. They climb through the limestone cleft, admire the views across the countryside, and continue on their way. Few pause to consider how many generations crossed the same ground for very different reasons. The fairy legend may have given the place its modern fame, but older stories still linger beneath the surface. For centuries, the route carried worshippers, wedding parties, and funeral processions between Arnside and Beetham. Over time, wishes, fairies, and black dogs gathered around those memories, becoming part of the landscape itself. The fairy steps are more than a curious staircase hidden among the limestone. They are a place where ordinary history became folklore. And as evening settles across Beetham Fell, with shadows lengthening among the woodland and the limestone cliffs growing dark, it becomes easier to understand why generations of local people believe that something unseen might still be watching from the path. Thank you for listening to Ghost Tales by the Fireside. If you enjoy these stories, you can support the podcast and get access to MP3s over on buymeacoffee.com. They're £1.50 each, or free if you're a subscriber. You can find everything, including the podcast archive and more, at ghosttales.co.uk. And don't forget to follow Ghost Tales by the Fireside on Facebook and Instagram at Ghost Tales Podcast.
Looking for a simple way to thank your clients or recognize employees for a job well done? A Starbucks card is more than a gift. It's a pick-me-up, a break in their day, and a reminder that you appreciate them. Whether you're shopping for digital or physical cards in bulk, Starbucks cards are the perfect gift to brighten anyone's day. Share the joy of coffee and connection when you give the gift of Starbucks. Shop Starbucks cards in bulk now at starbuckscardb2b.com.